There are many definitions of alchemy, but the one that I most enjoy and feel is meaningful to me personally, um, alchemy is the art of wooing nature. It is the facilitation of natural processes such that it brings inferior forms to perfection in a time that is much abbreviated, much shorter than it would take for nature to do it by herself. The goals of alchemy are very different depending on the kind of alchemy we're speaking about. If we're talking about physical alchemy, we're talking about um, transmutation, the actual physical transformation of elements at a particle level, bringing inferior forms into much more sophisticated, complex forms, much more rarefied, refined forms. The goal of psychological alchemy, and I'm a psychologist, so I practice psychological alchemy in my consultation room, is really individuation, which simply means is to bring the basic potential that everyone is born with to their fullest expression. The third kind of alchemy would be, I'd call spiritual alchemy. And in spiritual alchemy, what we're attempting to do is to integrate body, mind, and soul. And ultimately, the goal I would call an enlightenment samadhi, a samadhi experience, or golden consciousness. Gold, we mean it in two ways. Physical gold is the kind of pure, very, very pure gold that can be transformed from inferior metals. The one that's most typically mentioned is lead. Depending on the kind of alchemy, though, we might consider gold in a metaphorical way, as in golden consciousness, the perfected, enlightened mind. This is a very special time. I mean, this is what I would consider the renaissance of alchemy. Its relevance is obvious just by reading the newspaper or listening to the news every day. We are in a global crisis. I mean, the earth essentially is dying. Why it's relevant is that alchemy offers a method of not just working as the physical science do to work on an objective inanimate world, but it brings consciousness into that equation. And I believe without both of those working in tandem, we don't have very much hope for the survival of this planet. Alchemy gives us a great opportunity to bring consciousness to science. Without those two, we're missing a vital ingredient. When we bring the two, the technological science and the occult sacred sciences together, we are armed with a powerful tool that can realize our fondest dreams. Alchemy has resurfaced because the balance between the objective, rational, and technological sciences and the inner occult sacred world is totally out of proportion. And that has gone to contributing to a lot of the ethical dilemmas that we're seeing, the degradation of the planet, devaluing human, animal, plant life. We cannot just apply just one without applying the other. They have to be brought to bear together because that we are part of this world. And the notion of the scientific principle, which has served us very well, is increasingly becoming obsolete. We have to reintroduce consciousness into the equation. The Alchemy Conference is a lot of fun to begin with. It's a rare, rare opportunity, particularly in the United States, to have alchemists from every walk of life, from alchemists working in their garage laboratories to people who are working at a very scientific laboratory, religious theologians, Kabbalists, coming together with a common intention of communicating their sacred inner knowledge. So it is a conference where there's a great deal of camaraderie and a common mind for advancing your art as well as the art as it is in the world. I think there are two parts that I would apply to answering the question of what is the goal, what is the vision of the conference. I mean, I think one that is critically important is the transmission, not just of information, but of psychic energy that happens there. We have to remember that much of alchemy, its secrets, its formulas, was by way of oral transmission. And so it is a marketplace for that to happen. The second thing is that the goal and the vision that I see for the conference is to, in a sense, legitimize by revisioning what alchemy is in today's world. And that would incorporate kind of introducing alchemy to the physical scientists and in reverse learning something from them as well. The Alchemy Conference is, as I see it in a metaphorical way, a vessel of transformation. As I've attended the conference, it begins with the Masa Confusa. There's a lot of confusion, but before too long, people begin to know one another, and there's this kind of stirring of consciousness. And the change begins to happen where you begin to feel like a community. And ultimately, by the time you've left, the transformation is felt on an individual as well as a global level. When you go to a conference, typically it's the imparting of information. Beyond that, if you're lucky, the information is not just raw data, but it's formulated into knowledge. But for the most part, that is about as much as you get if you're lucky. What's really, really special about the Alchemy Conference is you get wisdom. And it's not even so much in what the presenter might be saying. It comes across on a different kind of wavelength, but when you leave there, you might not be able to articulate it at first, but you feel wiser. Change through alchemy, a world of transformation. Come to the Alchemy Conference 2009. Be there. www.alchemyconference.com